Resuming the academic program does not mean that the problem of the funding of higher education in South Africa has been resolved. It has not. And I think there's not a single person in this room that does not acknowledge that fact. However, I think we all believe that it is possible to find a resolution without sacrificing the education of our students and the well-being of our staff. And I want to stop there for a second and remind you what the word sacrifice means. Because when you take an animal and you sacrifice it, it dies. It's gone. So I repeat, let's not sacrifice the education of our students. Let's not sacrifice this institution and our livelihoods at this institution. Nteu, but I think I speak for all staff, remain committed to engaging with the student leaders and all the other stakeholders about how to resolve the situation in a constructive manner. Now, there are many reasons to resume the academic program. I think it is an important step in de-escalating the situation, coming back to a situation where we can engage and talk to each other. I think it affirms our support of the academic project, and it is essential if we're going to avoid a prolonged shutdown of this university and the obvious implication that has for all of us here. I think it is also a response to the many students and the many parents who've implored us, please let us go back to school. Now, I do acknowledge that a lot of us are feeling very anxious. A lot of the academic staff are wondering, what will happen when I go back to my class? But I want to think for a moment about the many staff who have been here at their work post every day for the last few weeks. Well, as academic staff, many of us have been here, but many of us have taken our privilege to absent ourselves and work quietly from home. And that is fine. No one begrudges us that. But let me remind academic staff that the support staff have been on campus throughout the events of the past few days. And let me remind academic staff that they could not just always walk away. Right? They have remained at their posts. They have been assaulted. They have been intimidated. They have sat quietly and patiently and bravely throughout the anxiety of the workspace. And we need to acknowledge that and to say thank you for holding the university together in these last few days. Thank you. So coming back to the anxiety that I think we all feel, I'd like to address a few practical points to the academic staff in particular. I'd like to request that all the academic staff be physically present on campus and be visible on campus. This is not a day to work in your office and say, I'm doing my filing. You will have plenty of time to do your filing. And if the university shuts down, you will have many months to do your filing. So let us be present, let us be visible as a sign of solidarity with everyone at this university. I'd also like to ask all the academic staff to consider implementing a buddy system. There's no reason why we should have to stand alone at the front of a class waiting for something to happen. We are colleagues, we are friends. So I'm going to ask HODs in particular to facilitate this process. When lecturers go to their lecturers, let us walk together. Let us stand together in the class and express our solidarity. There's no reason to do this alone. Finally, as a union, I'd like to stress that at no point do we expect any of our staff to stand and in hardship. At all times, we're going to seek to de-escalate the situation. If you're in a lecture and you foresee the likelihood of disruption, intimidation, or whatever you might think might happen, there's generally some warning. You can hear it coming. You've got a sense. The students start looking at their phones a lot. Yeah. So, it's not the case that 1 minute you're teaching and the next minute you're running. That's not the way it's going to work. Okay. So I'm going to ask, when you feel a sense of unease or you feel that this might be a good time to de-escalate the situation, then please, if you feel unsafe, terminate the class. Okay? And absent yourself from the situation. Thank you, everybody.